Life is a precious gift I love and hold dear, and my art is the best way to express my appreciation for the joy and happiness and wonderful blessings in my life. You use a glass mirror to see your face, and you use works of art to see your soul. George Bernard Shaw. Good evening. Welcome to Expression in Painting by Paul Creamy. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. I brought a series of collages. A collage is something that I put together from old art. I take art that I've done from 30, 40 years ago, and I cut it up, and I put it on the table, and I put a piece of foam core on the table, and I take the pieces and I put them on each piece with glue, and I get a collage. I want to talk about this particular collage. I had a dream a while back about this collage. This collage is called Alert, and it deals with, in 1961, Khrushchev and Kennedy had a conversation with each other, and Khrushchev was banging his shoe on the table, talking about how he was going to annihilate America. He was going to drop the atomic bomb. You know, for a couple of weeks, I don't think a lot of us slept. I was about 15 or 16 at the time. So I'm doing this dream in the last couple of weeks, and this come to me. So what it is, it's that alert, that energy, the fear can bring to a surface. All of the movement and all of the lines dealing with those sirens and the testing. Did all of that whole couple of weeks, and it went away. But it left an indelible mark on everybody that was in that position. And this was my farewell to that time and dream. So it's called Alert, and it has all of the energy of all of that stuff that's going on. Okay, that's all set. So I've got quite a few of these collages tonight, and they range in size. They happen to be 36 by 36 on a canvas. Some of them are on canvases, some of them are on foam core. Now this particular size, a lot smaller, but I want to talk about the colors. You know, and I have this idea that this whole series is color and power. I want you to feel the energy, feel the movement, look at the piece, see how it moves around the particular. Now this is all artwork that I did 30 years ago, and like I said, I cut it all up and I glue it all down. And after I get it all set, I'll sometimes paint on the surface, make it all flow and have a nice quality. So each and every one of these pieces is a whole separate identity. It goes on and on. Same with this. Now you can see I have the purple and the orange and the green and the red. I want the thing that it is to be dynamic. I want it to have a lot of power. I want you to look at it. I want you to stand in front of it and try to figure out where you are and what it says to you. Because each and every person that looks at this is going to see their own interpretation, their own thought, their own feeling. And you know, when I've done these, some of them are done at the same time, and their colors are kind of harmonious. They have the same kind of flow as the one in front of it because it was done at the same time almost. And maybe this was done in the morning, this was done in the afternoon. And these smaller ones, they come together in a very spectacular way. In fact, I am going to do a collage show, maybe the next show. I'm going to bring in a bunch of the pieces, the glue, and we're going to glue it up in the paint. We're going to paint on top. And then I can show you, this green is painted on top. And there's some other colors, this blue. In certain colors, just to give it a three-dimensional, like this green right here, that's painted on top. I want it to have this in and out, triple dynamic, 3D kind of feeling on a flat surface. And I want these to be my own unique expression. Everybody has something that they've done in their lives that's totally theirs. Well, this is what I am saying about these collages. I have looked my whole life at different artists. I have been doing these collages. I am 70 years old, and I have been doing these collages since I was 10, 12 years old. That's when I started. I saw a Picasso, and I loved it in a Look magazine, and I said, oh my God, I can do that. And I started doing collages with linoleum cuts. I'd take magazines and cut them up and then do a linoleum and put it on top, a lino cut. And that's when I started doing collages. And so this is what this has led to. I'm 70 and I've been doing these, like I say, every few years. A few years ago I did 150. And now I'm not talking about numbers, I'm just talking about the act of doing these. So you see all of the movement and all of the, a lot of people say, well, they're so busy, they have too much to say. Well, life is too busy. All the stuff that's going on around us, the social media, everything that's going on, TV, everything. That's what this is all about, the energy. I'm taking the energy that I feel that's always around me, and I'm putting it on a surface, and I'm moving it around. And I'm trying to direct you. Now this particular piece is really nice. There's something about this one. I love the shape of it, and I love this figure up here, and all of this. In fact, a lot of my work deals with my own particular spirituality and all of the movement. And when you see these little lines in all of my pieces, these are people moving through space and time. And they're going somewhere, and they're going home, or they're going, and they're always moving. It's like if you looked at the world, everybody's doing something, and they're always going somewhere, and they're always coming back. Well, that's what I'm trying to show you in this particular thing, that all of this energy is continually flowing. And I'm using the color in the line. This is a fairly new one. I think I did this one last week. They got a little mixed up, moving them from the studio to here. I would have had them set up in a progression, but I like it to be spontaneous. Now, this particular piece reminds me of one of my multitude. I did a series of multitudes in 82, 83, where there's all of these figures, and they're always lined up, and they're always moving from one dimension to the next, and all of the colors, and the blues, and the greens, and the oranges. And I take these colors that are orange, and then I'll put blue. And if it's green, I'll put red. So that they have this energy back and forth because they're the opposite. And that causes a little friction. And so you see the flow, and you see them moving, and it's going up, and they're rising to another dimension. That's what this is all about. Let's slow down. So some of them are more intense, and some of them have more to say. I've been criticized by not giving them a resting space. But I am totally into the energy of moving. I want you to feel all of that power that's pushing this whole piece around, the flow up and over, and this red dot up in the corner. So you're drawn to that whole thing. And that's that door. That's that window. And it's pulling everybody up through it, and they're all heading towards it. And they say that when some people pass, they go through a tunnel. Well, that's what this is all about. They're all passing up, and they're going through this tunnel. And I've got names on the back of some of them. I was supposed to name them all. But, you know, sitting around, Bill wasn't around, so he's really good at helping me with my names, or my wife. I have difficulty with taking and putting names on some of these things, but there's another one. You could see all of these figures, all of these lines, and all of the different stages. In Mother Teresa Oliver said wrote a book, Interior Castles, in the 7 levels. And I read that book 5 or 6 times. I loved it. And I see it in a lot of my work, that we all go through separate stages while we're here and while we're gone. So this is the movement of our lives going from one place to another until we get to that spot or that place, hopefully. This one here has these orange and blue, and this, they're like roads, and they're like highways. In all of our lives, we're either on a highway or a road, we're going somewhere or we're coming back, constantly, to work, to everywhere we go, to the market. So this is what this is all about, that we don't realize that we're all on a journey. And that's what these are all about. This is a journey, and I'm trying to get you to participate in my journey by showing you all of these different places you've been and the places we're going to, because we're moving constantly, if we're healthy. Some pieces are different than others because of the quality of the work that I've used. Now, this particular piece, the collage pieces that I used in this one, dated back to the 70s, where I did some monotype prints with oil paints and enamel paint on glass. So the quality of the paper and the quality of the paint is so much different than what I'm using with the acrylic and the watercolors and gouache. I'll use everything I have in the studio. Printing ink, watercolors, gouache, crayons, Caran d'Ache crayons, everything that I can put my hands on to make my subject have the effect that I want. And this is what this is all about. I love it. There's all these people moving up and they got the purple robes and they've made it. They've gone through all of the stuff in their lives. And they've passed on, and they've gone to the other side. Our chosen home is on the other side. My friend Bill's got me to sign some of these. He's really a good influence. And so this is signed in the corner, so I know that this is the way it goes, right here. I probably wrote the title on the back. I did. And it's called Swept Away. So there. You know, in our lives, we don't realize the pressure in what happens to us and how we're moved from one thing to another by the circumstances of our lives. And so this is what this is all about. We're continually pushed in changing, we're growing, and some people hate to make a change. I like change because change teaches you to grow. It exposes you, it makes you uncomfortable, but in the ultimate end, what you do and how you do it has a powerful statement. So all of these people are moving in the darkness until this white light of energy passes over them and pulls them into the light and into the color and into the next level. I love this piece. You got people going sideways, you got people going horizontal, perpendicular, you got this wheel, and you got all of these lines, and you got squares. We put ourselves in these mechanical boxes. We put our minds and our personalities, and we put ourselves in a position, I'm never going to change, things are never going to get any better, I'm not this and I'm not that. That's not true. Art in life is continually showing us that we can make ourselves better and change. And that's what this is all about, continually going through different stages in our lives. And all of the different things we go through make a difference in our lives. So again, back to these one of the little smaller ones again. And this is a little more intense, a little more fragmented. Each day in our lives is a challenge in the power and the quality and the atmosphere and the energy that we're around and the things that happen to us. It fragments us. And that's what it's all about in this particular piece. When we're fragmented, we feel uneasy and that we have to find some point in our lives to settle down. The next series, you'll like this series. I think it's a really dynamite series. This particular one is called Sea Swept. Well, I think that was one of Bill's. And it does feel like you're in the water, and you just feel like this movement and all of this stuff is flowing around of us. Energy is like that. Energy keeps going around us and through us, and it brings us to different places. And this is what this is all about, these lines and these movement, and they're pushing and directing. And the colors are very subtle. They're very green and blue and soft yellows, really enticing. This part of that same Swept Away series again. So what happens is I'll start on something, and all of a sudden it'll start to do this thing, and I only participate in the work. I'm like out of myself when I'm doing this. I can't tell you how or why this came out like this. All I know is it came out like this because the energy that brought me to this place brought this to this place. And it's similar to the one in front of it. And you'll see some more like this, I think. Some of them, you seem to, if you look close, you'll see figures in this, they're boxes, and they're put in little places, and they're refusing to look, and they're refusing to participate, and they're refusing to move. And so we all can do this, and that's what I'm saying. We have to find a way to get to this spot and go through all of this stuff in our lives. And that what I am saying as an artist, that I have figured it out, and I hope somehow that I can pass it on through the work. Because everything that we do is a statement. This face is really powerful. This looks like some of my, like I said, some of the pieces I did in the 80s where it was the multitude, in that they're all lined up in the bottom and they're all the triangle. A rising triangle is humanity ascending. A descending triangle is God coming down. And when the triangle rising and the triangle descending becomes one, it becomes the Star of David. And humanity and God are one. And so this is what I'm saying is, we're ascending. The God figure is up here, Trinity, these three pieces, and all of the heavenly pieces, all of the spirits, and they're pulling us up. And then all of the light acts and all of the movement, calling us. Our chosen home is on the other side. I just did this piece recently. I think I did it a week ago, a week and a half ago. And the title is Waiting to Go Home to the Father's House. All of these figures are in this holding place or in a graveyard or in a place of wherever they are. And all of these figures are waiting to take them home. And so they're waiting to go to the Father's house. And so that to me, you can look at this piece forever and feel all of the different things. Where it came from, I have no clue. I was just working that day, and all of a sudden it appeared. Some of these pieces are very, very whimsical, and they have all of this stuff going on. And it's amazing, I know the way they go, but I have to do them, so it makes it easier. This to me reminds me of what goes on in space, you know, in other worlds, and all of this energy and all of that stuff that you see when they go through. I used to watch all of those science fiction shows, Beam Me Up, Scotty, and all of them, every single one of them. And I used to think that this is the way it's going to be someday. We're going to be in this space, in the radio, and then the telephone, and all of the things that they predicted, like Jules Verne in the submarine. So this is that kind of thing. It's kind of like floating in that beautiful space called the universe. So you get to see all of these things, and the more you see, the more you start to understand. You start to see all of the movement, all of these lines, all of these different movements, and they're all rising up. So you're starting to see my spirituality in the terminology that I'm using to direct each and every piece. Somehow it all has meaning, and it all has some kind of direction, some kind of flow. I'm sure if I had them all framed, I brought one that's framed tonight to show you at the end. Once you frame them and you put them in the right, this should have been with the other ones, like their lines, the flowing, but I think it goes like this. Swept away, pulled in, that there's confusion in our lives, and we have to center in. And all of that energy has to be calmed down, sit down, be still, and know. That's what this tries to say to me. It tells me that you have to just cool it, chill, kind of just sit back, and everything will work out. Oh, yeah. This one's really left field. Here's another one with some figures. You'll see the figures over here, in there. And we have this life, and we think that this is it. But there's another side to our lives. The invisible that's visible, and you know that there are spirits in the world. There are angels. There are people that are spirits that are watching over us. And that this is what this is all about. It deals with all of the traumatic stuff in our lives. And sometimes we just miss something, or something goes by us, and we'll say, wow, that was incredible. How did I get away from that, or how did I get out of that? That's what this is all about. They're continually protecting us, directing us. And sometimes, I just did this one a couple of weeks ago too, sometimes it becomes so overwhelming. It almost feels like Jackson Pollock, one of my favorite artists, because it took me a long time when I was in the youngster looking at his work to understand what he was trying to say. And what he was trying to say was that it's all fragmented, it's all blotched together, but it's not separate. Every little piece is joined to the piece beside us. We're all connected, we're all one. And the lines and the energy, they're all pulling us, making us one. This definitely has figures in it. Definitely. They're right here. They're angels, and they're telling us that I am watching over you, that I am looking after you, that I'm part of you, and that I'm here. And all you have to do is come to me. I'm here to protect you. Again, what I think each and every one of these collages does, that our lives are fragmented, and we have to find some way, even myself, to make it have a purpose, to have a meaning, to say something. I mean, I say something visually, because that's how I see. I wish I could write. I write little things down, but I'm not a writer, but I see things visually, and I see the dimension in this particular piece. I see how you pulled in. I see all of the colors, the blues against the orange, the reds against the greens, the yellow. These colors, the power are in the movement of the colors, and they're drawing you further in and making them three-dimensional. I sit in front of this particular piece for hours, and I say, wow, how strong that is. Some of these got even smaller. Another one with figures. You see the figures all over. And it talks about dimension, What dimension are we in? What are we seeing? What matters? Sometimes we feel fragmented and we're all shattered and we're broken. How do we become one? This one definitely is figures. This one almost looks like one of my angel cards. They almost look like they're having a discussion. But see, I let the piece do the talking. I mean, I'm doing this and I'm saying, well, what is this going to do? And how is it going to work? And then I just say, okay, let it be. And then it is what it is. It is this discussion. They're talking to each other. They're saying something. They're calling each other. Almost like Jacob's ladder. Another one with moving to the city, you know, in this constantly moving with the lines, with all of the movement and the group of people. You know, a lot of them remind me of 40 Years in the Desert. I have a piece that I did, and I call it 40 Years in the Desert. You know, they took them 40 years, the Jewish people, to get across the the desert. And it could have taken four weeks. But that whole generation had to be destroyed because they didn't do what God wanted them to do. They were stiff-necked. This piece here, one of my favorite out of all the things, it has a plateau. This purple with the yellow and all of the people. And there's plateaus in our lives, and there's different dimensions, and there's different avenues, and there's different ways of moving from one level to the next. But we're constantly moving, and we're constantly going, and we're constantly changing. So that's what this whole entire collage is all about. And then we get to this level, and then we move on to the next level, and we go through this, and we come out here, and we're in that place. And we're home. Now this piece here and the next piece, two of them, they're very chromatic. There's a color coordination in this. It's color chromatic. It has this real softness about it. It's not as wild as all of the other ones. It's kind of laid back. Where it came from the work that I used to make the collage. So it spoke to me in that particular manner. And it's sort of peaceful and serene. And I look at it and I'll say, it reminds me personally of a prayer rug. It has that kind of peacefulness and serenity, and it draws me up. The green one is like this too. And they were done, this was done first, and then the green one was done after it. Happens to be in a bag, I didn't realize it. Let me take it out. I buy these plastic bags, and I store them, and they stay forever. Really makes a big difference on how the piece lasts. I mean, some of these things I've had in bags for like 25 years. Here's the green one now. It's color chromatic. It's arranged, and it's got this soft, beautiful green fields, almost like it is outside today, the last couple of weeks. There's something about green. Green's a symbol of new life. And it's very serene and peaceful, and there's this quiet lines pushing it through and up. And it's like that. Beside restful waters, I give you repose. When I look at this, I think of the 23rd Psalm, and I think that all of us want to be in that place, want to sit down and lay down on the grass by the water and chill and just let the atmosphere and life blow by. So that's what this is all about. Then we're back to Mr. Wild. I guess there's this part of me that has to say something, in that I always feel there's somebody looking at me, or I'm looking at myself, and that all of these circles, their eyes or their oneness, a circle with a dot in it means oneness, but this whole entire piece, I think that if Picasso did this, he'd be smiling. Or if Paul Klee did it. It's got this real harmony, and it's like a painting. It's not like a collage. It's not like something like the other ones have. It has a little more openness. It has space where you can rest, and it has these little boxes of areas that sort of make you stand and look at it for a while. It pulls you up, in, and out. I'm directing you around this whole entire piece. You start to see all of the different things. Now, here again, you got these figures, and they keep moving through the piece. And then you got these lines, and you got these figures again, and this up here, and over here. And you got all of these things directing your mind. An artist sees in a whole nother place, and he tries to relay that thought in what he's doing. I'm relaying it in the red paint. The red paint is directing you completely around this whole entire piece. It's all over the whole entire piece. So that I want you, and red is so powerful that it holds your attention. A lot of artists won't even use it, and a lot of artists won't use black. I have no restrictions on myself. I think that you can use and should use everything that you think you need to get it to work. Then again, now this one here has that kind of roads feeling. We're traveling, got all of these highways. All of the people moving, going from different levels to different levels, leaving one place to another. Constantly moving, constantly trying to go. Now, they're on a journey. I mean, I should name this whole entire series The Journey, because that's what I see when I look at it, when I'm talking about it. When I'm doing it, I don't think about all of this stuff. It's just the flow and the movement and how it's going to affect each piece, the color. I sit in my rocking chair. I go about this far, maybe 20, 15 feet, sit in my rocking chair, and I look at it, and I walk up and I put a line in like this, so that that line pushes you up. And then I'll put a line like this in this so it pulls you to the center. So each and every marking on this particular, and each and every one of these pieces is for a purpose. It's not just thrown at it. It's directing you around the whole entire surface so that you can feel and see the movement. These never-ending people are always going somewhere. They're constantly going somewhere. I feel like this is the mall. Sometimes I look at some of these things and I say, that's what I see when I go to the South Shore Mall. All of these movement people charging, especially in the holiday, especially like around Christmas or one of those major holidays. This piece here is a little dynamic. The colors are screeching at you. So it's almost like Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is right before the Holy Week. So all of that chaotic stuff, all of that energy, all of that just vibrant pink against the soft blue and the strong blue. And then all of these figures crammed into this little corner are trying to get up here and rejoice. And you have to go through all of this stuff, all of these levels, all of these boxes to get to the other side, to get beyond who you are or what you are, to become what you want to be and what you should be. This one yellow spot right here, the tranquility, peace, the red symbol of blood. I mean, that particular red is the only, that's in that one spot only. Nowhere else in the canvas or in this square box or this 20 by 30 piece of material that I've used. So I see this and I stand in front of it, and the more I stand in front of it, even though it's real strong, I still see the simplicity and the peace. I'd have this in my house. I love it. It's one of the pieces that it jumps at me. Some of my pieces have my name. I see my name right here. In some of them, they have my name in 3 or 4 different areas. This, to me, kind of like a circus, kind of like, well, all of these figures, green and then the red, and it's got this Easter kind of feeling to me. All of these figures moving up, the figures up here. Here's my name again. It's up here. I told you. I crack up when I'm doing these things, and I look, and I don't see it when I'm doing it. And then I'll step back and I'll say, oh my gosh, I've got my name all over this thing. And so you look at this piece, and it has so many different colors, but they're all very serene and peaceful. And that's what painting on top of the collage does. I have the right in the attitude that I can direct you with the colors by bringing the yellow up to the purple and the purple up to the yellow and the green and the orange, going beside the blue and the yellow beside the purple. So each and every one of these things are running through my mind, but still what I wanted to have is an overall effect. I want it to speak to you. I want you to look at it and say, wow, the colors in that are really dynamic, but what is it saying to me? Everybody's going to stand in front of something someday and question why and what for. And it's my job right today to tell you what I see. But when I'm not here, this series of CDs and tapes are going to be left behind. And I'm doing this for my grandkids. I'm doing it for all of the people that I teach, all of the people that I love. And at 70, I know that I should give back to society all the gifts that God has given me. Because I give honor and praise to God every moment when I'm doing this. It's all a prayer to me. It's all a way of me saying, I am with you, I am one with you, and you are directing me. So this is what this is all about. We're continually moving, and we're continually marching on. We're always going, we're always following, or we're always leading. I had a class at my friend's studio a couple of weeks ago. I had 9 little boys paint birch trees, and 3 girls. They were 14. Great time. I believe that we should always try to give back to each and every person. So this one here has a tremendous amount of different levels. You can see them. You can feel them. You can see the boxes, little cubicles. You can see the way it moves. I had all of those kids in looking at these collages, and they got the biggest kick out of them. I talked to them about it. I said, you know, this is something I never had the opportunity to do. And you, the audience, you never had the opportunity until you met Paul Creamy, and I'm standing here doing this for you. Because I know that there's artists out there that wouldn't spend the time to share all of this knowledge and all of this. But I'm doing it because I've been blessed, and I think that you have to pass it on, and you got to give it back. So this is what this is all about. This is a really nice piece. You know, some of them, some days, they just have this overpowering a presence. I'll save these bad ones. Yeah, this one was a really hectic day. Oh my God. and the piece itself. But it's a cosmic thing. It's all of the moons and all of this universe and all of that space stuff. Go where no man's gone. I love that kind of thinking. I love that kind of, well, that's the way our lives are. We think we know what we're going to do. Tomorrow is a whole nother universe. Our lives can change in a second. My friend Peter was telling me about his best friend. He was coming home from a party with his son. He had a heart attack. He went into the hospital and he passed. 79 years old, a general, retired general. So you don't know what tomorrow's going to be. Live in the moment. This hectic, wild, flowing universe that we live in. And we're part of it. And how do you express it? The star here in the corner, all of these different planets. I mean, our great-great-grandchildren are going to see all of this. We see it in movies. They're going to see it in reality. What's today's thought, tomorrow's reality. Another one. Some of these are darker than others. Some of them are brighter. They're all climbing. They're all ascending. That's the right word, ascending. And I see some of these fabric designs that I did. And all of the stuff that I use for these collages, I'm going to bring them in. The next show, I'm going to do a collage. I'm going to bring in the stuff. I might even cut it up in front of you, put it in a pile, assemble it, paint it, and show you. Because it's a whole nother world. Your mind is in the moment. It's in that place. And all of the stuff that you have put out is what you work with. And you make it work. Somehow. And you're sitting out there saying, wow, that doesn't work for me. Don't matter. What works for me and what will work for you is you. Getting you to do something. Getting you to challenge yourself. Getting you to start drawing or start painting. That's what this is all about. The expression in painting is to teach you to see, to open up your eyes, to appreciate a whole nother dimension, that art is a gift, and you all have it. You refuse to move it, and you have to do it to move it. Oh, this reminds me of the 70s, definitely. Oh, Psychedelic Heaven, I love it. Get out some of the old-time screeching 70 music and this whole sunglasses and the face, and oh my God. I mean, good. We have lived, and I have lived, a long, long time looking at my friends and looking at the world and seeing what I see and painting what I painted, and to cut it up and then to reassemble it and to make it look like something that has that kind of time and space. I know when I'm on Facebook and somebody sends me Foreigner in a song that I haven't heard for a while, Looking for a Girl Like You. I just played it the other day on my Facebook. It brought me back to a place, you know, and all of those songs, all of them, every one of them, Bob Dylan, all of them. So when I look at this stuff, and I'm playing those tapes in my studio that I have from the 70s and the 80s, the work may come out like this. This piece has that feeling. Somebody says, were you ever on drugs? No, I was never on drugs. My drugs was my art. You know, I didn't smoke grass, and I don't take drugs. I didn't drink. All I ever did in my whole life was do art, and also hairdressing for 43 years. That was another one of my jobs. And doing all of this, always thinking about what I wanted to get to and how I was going to get there, and looking around. So this is what this is all about. It's probably a psychedelic piece, in a sense. We're moving right along. This show is really buzzing by. I've got a few pieces left, and I've got to stretch it out. Let me take this out of the bag. I've got like 7 pieces, so I'm going to take my time on them, and that'll be it. Well, I saved these real colorful ones, and I didn't save them on purpose. They just happened to work out like that. I put these in bags because I really thought they were really strong. This is more like a painting than a collage. I love the lines. I always seem to put these lines in. I think that the lines are dimensions, and the colors. Like I said earlier, a rising triangle is us ascending, and a descending triangle is God coming down. And I put God coming down on the white light, because God is light. And all of this other stuff that's going on, you don't see many people in this. You see these lines up here, and but not in this particular piece. And it must have been that I was trying to make it say that it, at one point, well, they've got these ones here, a very small section, in that bright red purple in the center. I can see the pieces that this come out of too. I look at this piece and I say, oh my goodness, all of the different prints that I had done in the 70s, in the 80s, and the 90s. And there's more figures here, now that I'm looking. See, when you're standing on top of it, and there's some right here too. You really can't see it. If I get back a little, then it starts to see. So these, you know what they remind me of? This particular piece reminds me of a leaded glass window. In the 70s, I met a man who did leaded glass windows, and I did some designs for him. And it sort of affected me in a way that I always thought that I would show that whole series of things that he did. And the paintings, they come out that way. This is one of the first ones I did when I started redoing the collages. In it, The Many Roads of Our Lives is the title of this piece. And all of the places and things that we want to go to or have been to or are going to go to, that's what this piece deals with. It deals with our travels, the way we live, and all of the things around us. The next piece reminds me of a circus. Every time I look at this piece, I crack up. Oh. This is the most whimsical piece in the whole entire show. If that doesn't bring some memories for some people, man, I'll tell you, it is so out there, and it's floating. I mean, it's like a Moreau. His work was like this. It was very funny and whimsical. He got his ideas from the Sears catalog. I read his life story. He went to the Sears catalog and saw all of these objects, and he started painting all of these weird things. So this is kind of like a face in here, like a Picasso face, and then all of the stuff that goes on around us. I mean, do we really like our face? Do we really like what we're seeing? Or is it all of these things that happen around us? Does it influence us? Does it make a difference in our lives? A lot of fun doing that one. This is another one. Quite busy. Put this up while I talk about it and get this one out of the bag. Because we're almost running out of these pieces. We've got a few more pieces and then we're all set. Good. All right. This particular one deals with boxes, that we're in a box, and that sometimes we can't figure out how to get out of that particular place. And you know what the secret is? The secret of getting out of this particular place, to let go. Just let go. Go with the flow and move on. And that's what that says. And this one deals with the same feeling. Another one. This one's got more dimension. It's more elevated, more lifting. This is more structured, less pushing, less, and you see that, I think I got it upside down. I know that the light coming down, the triangle's coming down. And there we go. It reminds me of a city. This whole feeling of the buildings close together and all of the congestion and pressure. That's the whole thing. You know, sometimes when you do a collage, and this happened to me a couple of times. I start out doing a collage and I wound up with flowers. This one here was a collage. I brought it just to show you. You know, have fun. Don't let life make you something you don't want to be. This is what this is all about. All of a sudden, I said, my God, it looks like a vase of flowers. So I painted the flowers. And I said, I love it. It reminds me of the 4th of July. Red, yellow, and blue. Red, blue, and white. And all of the flowers busting out of the vase. And the water and the lines. And just a wild piece. I was going to give it to a friend of mine, but said it was too serene for her. Oh, the next two pieces, this happens to be on a canvas, like the big one. And these two pieces, they definitely remind me, they definitely remind me of leaded glass windows. This piece and the next piece. They have a very tranquil, low key. They're nothing like any of the other ones. And someday, when you wake up and you say to myself, today I'm going to do a whole nother thing. And this is another thing. What I've done is I've taken all of the collage pieces and I put them down and I've covered the whole entire surface with white paint. And it pushes the paint back. And it gives this another pastel, soft, quiet, transparency. That has that leaded glass kind of feeling. And I discovered that along the way as I was doing these. And so I said, well, I'll try one because these particular pieces weren't working as a collage. Okay. And I decided that I'm going to make it work by painting on top of the surface like that. So this piece here is framed. This is my favorite piece. I love this piece so much, I've already made prints. I probably won't ever sell this piece. And this piece is called 40 Years in the Desert. And it's signed, dated, and it's made into giclée prints already. Here are the people, and this whole entire surface is they're wandering from one place to the next to get through a desert that would only take 4 weeks, that took 40 years, because they were stiff-necked people. And I'm not trying to make fun of the Jewish people. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. To me, it's very party-ish. It's kind of like a joyful journey. Not for them, but for this particular piece that has all of this beautiful movement. This has this yellows and the oranges and the red right here in the center and the green lines and the little dots and the orange lines. And I'm directing you around the whole entire surface. I'm going to hang this in my bedroom. I love it. And 90% of the things in my bedroom, if you came to my house and you went into my bedroom, I have 13 or 14 pieces on my wall in my bedroom, and they're all black and white, except for this piece. This is going to be in my bedroom. I don't know if my wife's going to like it, but she loves the black and white. But I wanted something in my bedroom that made me feel like I was part of a party, a part of a journey, and part of a whole thing that was going on. And so that's what art is. It's a thing going on in you, and it's a thing going on in all of us. And some of us were sitting out there saying, well, I can't do this. Little kids can do this. You know, what you have to bring back into your life is that child that lives within you, so that you can express yourself and bring yourself to that place of saying, hey, thank God, and thank you all for listening to this. Good night and God bless.